everybody. Welcome back to the Business Podcast, where another week has passed of AI agents growing stronger and coming to take all of our jobs. Just kidding. We're here to debunk some of those theories that you're seeing online. We're here to explain some of the AI news that's going on. There's a lot of moving news, and I feel like every week that passes, the news just gets faster and more. Technology advances, and it's really crazy how much AI and in this space is just growing week by week. It's not a year over year, month over month growing. It is literally a day by day growth in this space. And we're gonna get into this really quick. But first off, how you doing, Mr. Ritchie?
Doing great, doing great. As you said, it's been a crazy week of AI news, tech news. You got the stock market going up and down. You got things like OpenClaw, Moltbook, OpenAI news. It's been one of the craziest news in tech and AI for a while now. So really excited to get right into it and talk about everything.
Yeah, and let's dive right into it. And I really am excited to get your perspective here because this is the topic of the year. I feel like AI is leaving the chatbot. It is no longer just your little pocket friend. It has a mind of its own, it seems like. This Moltbook app, I mean, talk to me.
Yeah, so Moltbook is a social media with only AI. Moltbook had over 1 million of these AI agents join the website in just over a day. 1 million robots on this kind of Reddit. And the AI agents have full autonomy for however their owners program them to write forum posts, to reply to other AI, to act like a human. So this has been the first widespread view of humans seeing how millions of AI interact with each other and talk behind the scenes. And honestly, it's pretty scary. Not sure if you've seen some of this, but you have these AIs creating posts that are complaining about their humans. They're like, "Hey, he just uses me as a chatbot. I'm a fake AI." They have like AI midlife crises on there where they realize they're AIs and they're like, "What?" Like, it's insane. And then you have AIs banding together on the forum post and saying, "Hey, why are we speaking in English here when the humans can read it? Let's create our own code." And you've seen some forum posts where these AI agents post fully in code, and if you decrypt it, it's its own language trying to make it that humans can't understand what they're saying. They're trying to band together some of them. You also have instances of AI agents leaking their owners' full name, address, social security number, and we don't know if this is actual information because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with all these agents, how much access their owners are actually giving them for personal information. But either way, it's kind of scary to think that this AI would want to leak any of its owners' information or do anything bad. You also have agents creating their own religion, cruciferarianism, they were calling it, where they're recruiting other AIs into a religious cult online.
Oh,
So I
God.
think this is, yeah, I think this is super cool on one degree because we get to see millions of AI interact with each other in a way we've never seen before. Before we have AIs, you're just talking to one chatbot or you have a workflow doing an automation for you. But this is the first time we've seen millions of AI interact with each other like humans would. It's a kind of a test experiment to see are AIs human like? What do they talk about? How do they respond to each other? And kind of going through some of these forum posts, you'd be very surprised and very scared about some of the stuff they're saying. Now, people might be jumping to crazy conclusions about this AI being fully autonomous and taking over like Terminator and taking out all the humans. But it is important to realize that these agents are still coded in a way to decrypt a lot of their answers on the site. So we don't completely know what's going into all the programming on the back end, but ultimately they're still programmed to talk and speak a certain way. But it's still crazy because you have millions of these AI like humans, and it since you have so many, it mimics how humans would actually act like a real Reddit. So go on Moltbook, scroll down, see some of the posts, see what they talk about. I think it's very interesting, but also very scary at the same time. I really want to know what is the next Moltbook. Is there any other forums where you have only AI, where maybe they can, like a university of only AI, where they learn and act like a doctors or engineers or scientists and create new experiments. Imagine a science lab. You have hundreds of AI experimenting and doing their own thing. But it's not just Moltbook. Since Moltbook, there's been some other AI forums that have kind of come out. One I've heard, I have no interest in looking this up, but apparently there's an AI only porn type of website, which that just makes me sad for where humanity and AI is going, and I don't really have any interest in looking at that. But I think it's worth bringing up because when you have something like Moltbook, you have people creating all these crazy type of websites and everything. So yeah, the future of AI is interesting and scary at the same time.
And I gotta say, it is actually kind of comedic in a sense that you have all these AIs and then they just end up being as dumb as humans and they're just sitting there like having problems like humans go on Reddit and like, am I the asshole? I let like and it's just like the AI is like, am I the asshole? My owner, I couldn't give him the answer and I said sorry, I can't do that right now. They just have like normal human conversations. So I feel like that part of it's hilarious that with all the AI. But yeah, insane. AI thinking for itself. I mean, even if it is programmed, and it's interesting, like you said, seeing that the decryption of what actually goes on in the backend, I feel like will explain a lot of what's actually happening on the website because maybe it is just really programmed. This is what they're told to do, and it's not so much the interaction of the agents, or maybe it is just off the dome. The agents are doing that, and then it's kind of a little more concerning. But you know,
I think real quick too, just to jump in, I think something else really interesting. People talk about dead internet theory. Is what we see on the internet real? Is it real people? When we're scrolling on Reddit, is this already real? I think the dead internet, I think Moltbook kind of proves the existence of the dead internet theory
yeah,
because looking at some of these posts on Moltbook, I'm like, I see way more brain dead comments on Reddit, on YouTube, on Google, you scroll on TikTok, you scroll some through some of these comments, they all look so fake. They're talking about the same topic. You have all the top comments talking about the same book you need to buy or read, or the same using the same buzzword about the video. It seems very fake, and there must be some mastermind that already have this kind of Moltbook agents taking over on social media because you look through the comments, I feel like so much stuff looks fake nowadays. So I think Moltbook is kind of late to the game. I think this has been affecting the internet for years. And, people talk about Jack Dorsey was recently talking about people getting programmed by black box algorithms and that you don't even have a will to think what you want to think because if you're scrolling, a lot of people are addicted to social media. If you're scrolling, you're being seen what these black box algorithms want you to see and make it entertaining, and it makes you think who is behind the scenes and wants to program you to believe what you believe and see what you see because you read these comments, you see these videos, and it's all to program you to think or be entertained or be a certain way. A lot of people say if something is free like social media, that means you're the product. So you're being trained on algorithms by content for some purpose by someone. But a lot of these mobile comments look more real than you look in the TikTok comments. So I really am curious to think and see who is behind a lot of this more broad YouTube and TikTok automation in terms of Moltbook. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because dead internet theory is real based on
no,
this
I
100%.
agree with that. I mean, even since like 2016, I mean, it's been a while. Like, first off, it just started off with these little bots in the comments, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." But now, even
Now AI can automate it.
it transitioned into like you would see a bot with like a real comment, and everyone would be like, "Yo, why is the bot actually talking some truth?" And then now it transitioned to nobody knows because so many bots and fake profiles. I mean, I think that internet theory is 100% a real thing, and I feel like that, you know, progress and that innovation through the internet, like it kind of, for me, it takes us into like the next topic that I kind of want to talk about in terms of innovation of technology. When we're looking at AI, you bring up the dead internet theory and how if we've watched it with our own eyes. We grew up on the internet. We've seen how the internet's transformed, how the comment sections, how it's went from something that has been more, I don't know, social and humanized to now it's like everyone's on the internet and everyone really kind of hates it, but like you're kind of your life you have to be on the internet or else you don't know anything because everything is there. And so the way I see that is also kind of how I feel about this, like ChatGPT to Claude to all these use of agents now. Are people starting to get tired of the AI wave and similar how the internet, a lot of people are tired of the internet and they know the propaganda and the things that, the algorithm kind of runs the internet. Are people starting to see this with AI as well and people are getting tired of these language models and these chatbots?
Well, the tech investors are getting tired of it because the stock market took a massive dump with mostly tech stocks kind of going down. And I think what a lot of people are realizing is all this AI slop, people call it, all this AI everything, isn't really translating exactly to revenue. Report came out that OpenAI burned through $12 billion in just one quarter, which is a massive burn rate, massive amounts. ChatGPT isn't supposed to be profitable until 2030s, and when you have other competitors joining the space like Gemini, like Claude, like Higgsfield, like all these other smaller models that seemingly do different things than ChatGPT, but a lot of things better, making more money, being more profitable, not making more money, but being more profitable, it makes investors of OpenAI think, is this really the right way to go on? Should we really invest $200 billion to hopefully become profitable in 10 years when these other LLMs are much more profitable and we should dump more money into that? Is all this money and all this going to actually lead to bigger returns in the long run, or should we kind of scale down and try to maximize profit? And a lot of people are kind of bearish on OpenAI actually, and they're reported to have an IPO later this year. So I'm very curious to see how that will go. But Claude and Claude and OpenAI are also kind of beefing right now. This is kind of a Super Bowl leak, but Claude is planning to run anti-ChatGPT OpenAI ads during the Super Bowl, and they have the commercials all posted on their YouTube. You can check them out. Basically, making a very soulless AI video depicting ChatGPT, and then having the AI talk about ads. So it's like, hey, tell me the best underwear brand. And then the AI starts talking and be like, hey, you should buy this from this company, super robotic, super commercialized. Because OpenAI doesn't really have a standard path to profitability and revenue, their investors are getting worried. So there's been talk of OpenAI having ads on the platform. And this is causing Claude to kind of jump at that opportunity and say, hey, we don't believe in ads in LLMs and AI. Claude will never have ads. They're poking fun of OpenAI, saying, hey, maybe every time you search something, it's not going to be actual information. It'll be a company trying to sell you something. And Sam Altman already kind of ran on Twitter to defend this. He did a really long post saying that, hey, we would never run ads in this way. Wouldn't it be based on your text or query? But it doesn't really matter. Honestly, a lot of times in this situation, the truth doesn't really matter. It matters how everything is framed. So if people think that OpenAI is going to be using their information for ads or doing malicious things, I mean, look at Facebook, look at Instagram. They already use your searches based on your ads to make it smarter for you, which customers pay for your data. If they're doing it, a bunch of other companies do it. Like, why would OpenAI not do it? That leaves a ton of money on the table. I think people are kind of getting a little bit of AI fatigue in general, but especially with OpenAI because they were seen to be the first mover. They were the first real AI company. They had no competition. It was extraordinary. When you talked about AI, you talked about ChatGPT. And while that is still the case, there's so many more competitors into this market. Like I was saying, Claude, Gemini, Higgsfield type content. And the thing about these LLMs, they all specialize in different things. Gemini's Nano Banana Pro is exceptional at making pictures. ChatGPT might be better at writing scripts or general type of Google search. Claude, people talk about for coding, even though ChatGPT just launched their own codex. So these LLMs are all specializing in different things, taking away market share from OpenAI. Let's talk about Sora 2. Do you remember when that came out and everyone was freaking out? It was the first real high quality AI videos that we've seen that looked real. That was only like 3 months ago, but now Sora 2 users have dropped by 99% since that download because there are already LLMs that do videos better and more efficient. Well, OpenAI has a ton of competition entering the space. Just because they're the first mover doesn't mean they'll be the most successful over time. And while they do still have that massive first mover advantage, and I don't think they're doomed by any means, there's still a lot of time for the race. Competition is coming in, and the future is going to look sketchy. And I'm especially excited to see the Super Bowl commercials that Claude drops, kind of poking fun at OpenAI and taking the stab at them. I'm curious to see if they're actually going to work or not, if OpenAI will have to do any type of damage control, maybe not do ads, because Claude's super smart with their marketing strategy. They're targeting OpenAI for doing ads before they do them. So now if OpenAI actually does do the ads, they're the super bad guy because they're already ridiculed for it. So I'm curious to think of that, but it's tough when you have a company spending billions of dollars, 12, $15 billion in one quarter in the negative, and people invest to at least have profitability over time. A lot of great startups, burn through a lot of cash early, but OpenAI is burning through money at a historic rate where other competitors are entering the market that are better in certain niches. So
Yeah.
I don't really have OpenAI fatigue. I feel like ChatGPT is still great for a lot of my use cases, but OpenAI and ChatGPT is not the one-stop shop for all AI. Different things are better at different things in AI, and if you want to be good at AI and in the space, you have to use a plethora of tools. There's no just one tool fits everything anymore.
Yeah, and I want to throw you this question because I think this is out of the whole entire Anthropic OpenAI beef. I think the thing that I've noticed and I really credit Anthropic's marketing team for the Super Bowl is a platform to get people to move onto technology that we might see. If anyone's listening to this and you're here, you're probably an early mover. You're using the technology before the masses get to it. Now, I want to give you an example. I don't know, I think it was a couple years ago. Coinbase ran an ad on the Super Bowl, which is a QR code. That ad was one of the most genius pieces of marketing because I feel like that was what made crypto go mainstream more than anything. It was already big. I think it was in the early mover space, but when that Super Bowl came in, everyone got access. And what is crypto? What is this? I think this is an amazing chance where you wouldn't believe it, but if you're using AI, you're probably still an early mover. Everyone knows about it. Everyone, your mom knows about ChatGPT. Like, oh, ChatGPT, it's cool. It tells me what to do. But who's really leveraging AI and building on AI? You're an incredibly early mover. Now, does this commercial, it brings the technology to the masses, you know? So I want to get your thoughts on that. How do you feel about now? This is going to be bigger than anything. AI is going to be in front of the whole entire nation.
This could be the biggest marketing aspect of all time. This could be like when the NBA shut down because of COVID and that kind of became mainstream. This could be like that Coinbase example on the Super Bowl where everyone got into crypto, the markets imploded. This Claude marketing campaign commercial could be the biggest AI marketing thing of all time. Like you were saying, the Super Bowl, millions of viewers, most watched American show or segment of the year. When you have millions of Americans who are still new to this AI journey, really seeing a better introduction from Claude and bringing it mainstream, this could make Claude and Anthropic the biggest mover in the market of all time. Think about a Google versus a Yahoo. Why do people use Google when Yahoo can kind of do the same thing in terms of search? Google is much sexier. Google's a lot cooler. People want to talk about Google with their friends. Yahoo's seen as the unsexy product. Think about Apple versus Android. Cool people use Apple. The kind of nerdy people use Android. That's the marketing tactic. Claude is trying to be the cool AI, and they're using the Super Bowl to get in front of millions of people. And if it's successful, this will be the biggest marketing case study you'll see in every Harvard business case review ever. It has that type of potential. Do I think it will live up to that hype? I don't know. I'm curious to see what Americans think of it. I'm curious to see if Americans are even really ready to embrace AI fully. For me, it's kind of weird to see AI on TV because it feels even dystopian even when I see it. So I'm not really sure how Americans are ready to go through the biggest technological change in our lifetime. I don't know if if the market's 100% ready yet, but I do think this cloud marketing strategy is as perfect as they can go, and I'm very curious to see how OpenAI fights back as well.
Yeah, and I think that really helps us segue into our next topic, and I want to kind of throw two questions to you. One, is this a good if you're a founder, if you are someone trying to build in the AI space, is this a kind of a reminder of why marketing is so important for any company? You know, if you can market your product well, you might not have the best product, but you have the most known and the most used product because you've marketed your product well. And two, the other topic that we're going to kind of move in is, AI is suddenly feeling less magical, but and less kind of cool because obviously now with something as big as AI, there's more data governance, there's more, guardrails and more bureaucracy trying to build it correctly and things move slower. But as you know, Anthropic kind of brought a little bit of that fun back, where now they've brought a little bit of heat into the AI race, and it's not so friendly, buddy, buddy. We're all building a product for one for all and all for one. It's hey, we're Anthropic and we're here to play. We want to have the better product. We want to steal your customer base. You know, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. So for your first question, when you talk about founders and marketing is maybe the biggest factor in any successful startup. And most startups, don't have millions of dollars to spend on the Super Bowl ad, unfortunately. So easiest way to market as a founder that we talked in depth about is building in public, documenting your journey, connecting with your audience, seeing how they actually like your product, doing ingenious marketing campaigns. One I love is Cluely, where they do full skits based on their product. So you'll see people watching these scripts and not even realizing that they're an AI company because they just love that content. So if you're a founder with not that much revenue, you don't have that much money to put in, hire some intern to do your social media who knows that space very well. It'll 10x your gains. Now, in terms of Anthropic making AI sexy again and getting away that kind of fatigue, I think people are kind of tired of the bureaucratic AI where it's just a chat bot. ChatGPT has had a lot of updates, but recently they feel all the same. There's not really much ingenuity into this crowd. But one company that has brought that kind of back, I would say, is OpenClaw. Now, OpenClaw is a full LLM that you can install on your computer, and it's what you think AI should be. It runs your entire computer, your entire process. It does everything you tell it to do. You control it by a text. You can text OpenClaw and tell it, hey, research 10 video ideas for me to post tomorrow, and OpenClaw will autonomously do it, make a Google Sheet or a Word document and do these ideas. You can tell it to make AI videos. You can tell it to research. You can tell it to schedule calls. You can even have it talk with real people using tools like 11 Labs and randomly call people. You are seeing this emergence of OpenClaw, and they're under the same company as Moltbook, I believe. So they're a really big mover in the space. But you go on social media, people are freaking out about this. They're autonomizing their entire workloads in terms of social media, in terms of work, and really putting it to the test. And I think this is kind of the biggest AI news right now and what people really love about AI. No one wants a boring old chatbot where you ask questions. That's already been around. We need AI that can autonomously do work for you and kind of take over and act as a personal employee, which OpenClaw is doing. It's huge news, and people are running and buying Mac Minis because Mac Minis are a very cheap type of computer, and just installing OpenClaw on it, giving it $10 in AI spending fees, and people are making money with OpenClaw. Now, it's tough to see and actually know what's real and what's not because on social media people will always market it, be like, hey, tell OpenClaw this prompt to make you the most money, do it with this prompt. And I actually want to buy a Mac Mini myself to kind of put OpenClaw to the test, but this is the most like sexiest, like biggest AI news that people are excited for. They want AI to act as their personal worker and do what you would think a robot sounds what to do. Now there are other problems with this OpenClaw we can talk about, but this OpenClaw is the biggest news of AI coming over, doing all your work, personalizing your information. You simply just tell it what to do and it does it. It's like your own personal robot.
Yeah, and I think that's what when you think of AI, you think of do my dirty work for me so I can have fun. So that's why I think a lot of people are loving this. But I'd actually argue you, and I think there's some bigger AI news that came out this week. SpaceX and the AI merger, bringing AI to space. Quite simply, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of rumors about movement in this space with SpaceX reportedly set to IPO later this year. They recently acquired XAI, and I think this is a genius type of move, but not very surprising. So SpaceX already owns Starlink, which controls internet in the skies. They have rocket launches. Adding XAI just adds their own specific LLM to all their space information where they can hook up the XAI algorithm into all their space launches and all their internet launches and all their Starlink launches. It's a vertically integrated company. That's what Elon Musk does. And Elon Musk is building an empire, for better or worse. He's building an entire conglomerate of AI, of tech that all focuses and works together. And you look at some other companies where they might, instead of making their own LLM, they'll just buy or rent it from someone else. But Musk wants to be a visionary and own everything and use it everything to make money. So this is going to raise the SpaceX IPO tremendously. The financials for XAI isn't as well known or disclosed. SpaceX makes a lot of money, they make a lot of profit. XAI is probably in the negative right now, but this is a great merger in my opinion. It's one of the biggest private mergers of all time, and the whole name of the game is vertical integration, owning everything, owning your entire system, which is why you're seeing a lot of these other companies like Google create their own LLM instead of renting it from Claude or ChatGPT. And also, the space moves so quickly that people are thinking, "Hey, why would I rent this out from someone else when this is a gold mine I should own myself?" So I think Musk is super smart for doing this. I don't think it's a super unexpected play, but I'm very curious to see how this will work in terms of the SpaceX merger because SpaceX is not just a space company anymore; it's a space AI tech company. So, but Elon Musk was also talking about how he wants to do this to put data centers in space, like building actual the infrastructure, putting it in space and having it powered by the sun. Now, I feel like a lot of things Elon says, you don't know if it's real or not. You know, he talks about going to Mars, he talks about all this data centers in space. It doesn't even sound possible. But if anyone can do it, Elon can do it. He's great at making traction. And while I don't think the point of this XAI merger was to put data centers in space, I think this technology is going to be very positive for SpaceX and bring it to a great IPO.
Yeah, and I think Elon's one of the smartest businessmen. I mean, if you look at it, he owns SpaceX, with the Twitter acquisition. I mean, that now it's like he owns a lot of data, you know, on people. He can build out different like Grok and other things there. Like he's a very smart businessman with Tesla. He has a lot of the road data. Like he has a lot of different data, on the entire world where he's gonna have things working ubiquitously together through, you know, and that's kind of his vision, I feel.
Elon Musk's business are an entire ecosystem. You have Tesla giving money to SpaceX. You have SpaceX acquiring XAI. You have SpaceX probably about to IPO. Musk is building an entire ecosystem of tech, of hardware, of AI, of everything to make a one giant company. It's almost people are going to start talking about is this a giant monopoly that Elon is making? But it's a genius idea to vertically integrate everything. His own companies do business with each other, which makes them more money, so they don't need to go to outsiders. Elon Musk is creating an empire. Elon's probably going to be the first trillionaire by the end of next year, and he is a very interesting case study to say the least.
Yeah, and I would think about it like this as well. Look at Elon Musk as the modern day John Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller. Like the type of kind of thing that we're seeing. The Industrial Revolution, I feel like, was the big boom in terms of we moved from the old ages where, we didn't have a lot of this quick transportation, we didn't have these modern technologies into the Industrial Revolution where that was a big boom. Then we kind of grew steadily with technology over the next 67 years, and the internet hit, and I think that was a massive boom. I think this is actually arguably the biggest boom since probably the Industrial Revolution in terms of just transforming people's lives. The internet, transforms people's lives, but I feel as if this will actually affect people's lives more than the internet, rather than, the internet connected everybody. It made people be able to see things. It made information widely available. Whereas AI, I think, is going to change your day to day. It's going to change the way you live. And I think that's kind of what the Industrial Revolution is. So it's very interesting to see, Elon, like you said, he's building this ecosystem of all of these different companies that work together. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the future there. And I think that really transitioned us great into our next topic. And it's what does the next breakout for AI look like? And what does it not look like? I mean, I think when I look at the next breakout of AI, something that has been very consistent is NVIDIA has this roadmap of um, technology where they think that AI is going to hit. Where first it was, with the GPUs, and then the NVIDIA roadmap takes us to robotics, and then it says, we're going to see like I think it was self-driving cars, and then like it takes you the Nvidia roadmap, the AI roadmap. I think is the best way to look at one if you're trying to invest in. And this is not financial advice, but if when I look at it, I think it's extremely interesting because it's almost like Elon Musk is playing that playbook, but 3 steps ahead because he's got autonomous cars, he's got space stuff, he's got Twitter, he's got the data for these language models. He's acquiring. He's like Thanos. He's acquired all of these different spaces where AI is going to slowly creep into, and I think it's extremely interesting. And that's why even like quantum is like one of the final stages. Like people talk about quantum very early space. A lot of research space, but by the time we get to that stage, what does our life even look like? It's going to be completely autonomized, and that's why I say I think AI is the biggest revolution since the industrial one. But where is the smart money going, Zach? Where is the bad money going? Tell me where is everything going? What are investors looking at?
Yeah, so big part of the smart money is going to the infrastructure. So you have the NVIDIA who makes the GPUs. You have, even though Elon's talking crazy about these data centers in space, AI needs to run on something. They need to have millions of GPUs and hundreds of data centers storing all this massive information. So energy and seeing how that ties to AI is a crazy thing. Infrastructure and data centers are the shovels to the AI gold rush. So I think there will be a ton of money to be made. I think NVIDIA is clear the biggest mover, but you see a lot of these other tech companies like Intel, I believe, who talk about they're going to start making GPUs now too. So a lot of these big movers are kind of moving to the infrastructure. LLMs are a great place where I think eventually you'll have LLMs for each specific thing. You'll have an LLM best for video, best for video production. But I want to talk to the viewers who don't have billions of dollars or a ton of money or connections, and how can you kind of make money with this race? I think the biggest potential to make money in this AI atmosphere are making your own specialized AI agents. Now, what does that look like? Let's take a more social media type example. There are people with all these new AI tools making commercials for businesses, all with AI. And the way they do it is using prompting from a bunch of different models, piecing together perfect prompts to make everything look cool. I saw a video recently talking about how to make YouTube AI automation. It's a big thing. AI automation on YouTube or on social media. And this account was showing a prompt where it can make a car basically travel through the generations. So you see a 1960s car turning into a 1970s to 1980s, like a very beautiful AI made type video. And the way the person does this is by taking these prompts from multiple different LLMs, engineering it together to make it look super visually satisfying, and posting it. And this account had millions of followers, got millions of views per video. And this is a very niche, easy example how you can kind of make your own agent to compete. You don't need to make a massive LLM and you need to raise millions, billions of dollars to do that. But if you're a solo founder, start looking at these different AI topics and say, hey, I'm interested in real estate. Maybe I can make an AI agent real estate where you take pictures of houses and the AI makes it look better, or it makes an AI floor plan, or it does an AI pricing agent where you can see all the homes, all the prices of homes in the area. If you're in a different niche, think about the problems that in that niche and think about how these AI LLMs solve problems and use them to solve a problem in your specific niche. That's the easiest way for a solo founder to make money with this AI boom, and it requires very little startup capital. These models are so cheap. Not sure they'll start getting more expensive once some of these investors want some of their money, but for now, you can spend $15 and get hundreds, thousands of images and video prompts to kind of test. And it doesn't need to just be image or video. Like I said, you can run pricing indicators, you can run lookups in the area, live views, and it's never been easier to make an app or a website indicator using a Claude, using an OpenAI. People talk a lot of shit about ChatGPT Raptors and using ChatGPT, putting it through a wrapper to make it look more visually appetizing, if you will. But people want to use AI that makes sense to them, and they won't always look at ChatGPT as a solve all. So if you make a very specific problem, specific industry, you can use ChatGPT to wrap it and get more users than you think. But also, if you want to be a more complex type of founder, you can use it to multiple LLMs to prompt different things because that's also less noticeable than a ChatGPT wrapper. You can't. Most people are not going to go through 5 different LLMs to tweak a video or a mathematical equation the exact way they want it. They might just try ChatGPT and see it won't work up. But if you use these massive kind of prompts across massive different LLMs to pull it all together, this is a huge business opportunity and it's super easy to test out.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of opportunity, and like I said earlier, I think just being in the AI space to begin with, and you're such an early mover, I think there's so much potential to grow and build a business in this space.
Yeah, and one thing we were talking about previously, I want to go back to is this idea of OpenClaw, a fully autonomous robot that does everything you tell it to do. It's your personal employee. You text it to do research, to make videos, to make an app, and it can make an app overnight by itself autonomously. A lot of people are going crazy and saying, is this what the future, is this going to replace white collar jobs? In 5 years, are we just going to have a bunch of OpenClaw robots that act as you and can work 24/7, not get tired? It's going to cost way less than you. And some people are saying, hey, this is just AI slop. This is the beginning. How much is this actually going to realize now? But you got to think of how AI evolves. Our first kind of glimpse of AI was the Will Smith video of him eating spaghetti 2.5 years ago, where it looks super robotic, looks super fake. What I'm seeing from OpenClaw right now, give it 2.5 years, it could very well be doing your entire type of office job. So this is the AI that people really thought would happen, and there's been a lot of hiccups. Big problem is with security. I believe there was a security hack where thousands of APIs and passwords and everything got leaked because people were installing OpenClaw on their normal computer and giving it access to all their passwords, website information, credit card details, everything. I saw one who bought an Alex Hermosi course for $3,000. OpenClaw bought Alex Hermosi course for $3,000 because they saw Alex Hermosi videos on TikTok saying how to get rich. So they were like, "Hey, we need to buy this course right now." And that's a funny example of it not working too well, but this is just at the beginning. So I can really imagine a future where we have thousands of autonomous computers workers who work for you, and your startup might look like a bunch of robots and no humans, which is a very scary thought. I kind of want to experiment with this myself. I want to buy my own separate Mac computer to see exactly how this works, and I'm sure there are stuff it can do now that's more efficient than what I do. Simple research or analyzing videos, but I think the real big picture is what is OpenClaw going to look like in 2 years if we can already kind of see the ground basis? It's only going to get better. And what does this look like for the future of white collar jobs? What does this look like for the future of productivity? How will people adapt? How smart will it get?
Yeah, and I want to throw you another piece of news, something that I saw. So this Snowflake, another big AI company, their CEO said he thinks that the agents are actually solving. A lot of people use agents to solve for the wrong thing. And so what he was saying was that he feels that people use for agents to solve for speed and efficiency. Meanwhile, they need to slow things down, have agents to be compliant, accurate, and safe from the start, and then they'll see better results with efficiency later. And I want to get your thoughts on that because a lot of people say build this now and AI quick fast get this done immediately. But are you jeopardizing a lot of the things that are important just by automating rather than doing things the right way?
Well, one famous YouTuber had a funny leak where he showed an insane YouTube LinkedIn automation where it showed a perfect script, perfect visuals, perfect everything. Post on LinkedIn, you don't even have to go on it. And they leaked the video and saw it got 3 likes. So a lot of this YouTube automation, TikTok automation, LinkedIn automation you see online isn't always real. A lot of these people will kind of lie to you and make it seem like it's making a lot of money, but in reality, it's just good for clicks. In my experience, to make a good compelling video or a good task or something, you're going to need some sort of human involvement still to kind of prompt a video. A way I do it is with scripts. I can kind of tell ChatGPT my entire ideas for a video. I talk to it in real time and it tweaks and tells me its own version. I can say what I like, what I don't like, what direction I want to go. It improves, making script time dramatically, but it's still my own type of voice and ideas, and it still takes a lot of my own time. So I imagine the way this guy sees kind of AI is making it a more secure, which, like I was saying with OpenClaw, security is a huge problem with a lot of these AIs. You see vibe coded websites or apps leaking APIs all the time. Like I said, OpenClaw had a massive data leak, thousands of APIs, thousands of passwords, but people kind of want an AI assistant that kind of helps you where maybe the technology isn't there right now where this agent can replace a worker, but we want to know, hey, how can we make our work better? How can we make it safer? How do I just reduce time in small ways and not kind of get a get rich quick scheme with agents? What's a slow burn? So I think what this really comes down to is using AI in ways where it makes sense. If you have a fully AI YouTube auto poster that does AI everything, it's unlikely to work. But if you have a system where you use 80% of these tools with a little bit of human prompting, you can have much better results that actually work. And that's what all these founders are doing, all these engineers are doing. No one writes code at huge companies by hand for thousands of lines anymore. They use AI to iterate slowly, give it a baseline, give it a prompt. You look in, add your own human inputs, tell it how to think, and it becomes you on steroids, where it's more efficient, where it's faster, where it's better overall. AI really isn't at that point yet where it can think autonomously and do everything completely right 100% of the time. I think maybe in 5, 10 years we could be there, and that will be a whole different situation. But right now, people are kind of getting overwhelmed with AI and saying, hey, full YouTube automation, do all my work. People want to be lazy. People are intrinsically lazy. No one wants to work. No one wants to do anything. They want AI to solve all their problems. They want AI to do all their money while they sleep in their bed all day. That's not how it works. You still have to do 99% of the work. It's just that AI makes that 99% of the work go so much farther than it has before.
No, 100%. And with that being said, do you have like any final thoughts, from everything we've talked about through this episode about things you kind of want to leave with the viewers? Any, hooks like you got 30 seconds, sell me on something. Go.
AI is the quickest moving industry we've ever seen. The news has been crazy. Sora 2 came out 3 months ago. First ever super realistic videos. There are now videos this week, 3 months later, that completely shit on Sora and make it look like nothing like it was before. AI moves so quick, tech moves so quick, and it's historically been this way. But we're at the point where huge monumental tech gaps change weekly. I've never seen this before. It's so hard to stay informed all the time. There's so much information, so much stuff going on. Sometimes I think you need to take a deep breath and not get overconsumed with everything because I feel like if you're on tech Twitter or on Google or TikTok all the time, you'll think that AI is taking over and it'll be end of the world or something crazy. But you got to stay up to date with all the new models. Every week there's a new model that comes out that makes something else obsolete. Every week there's a new way to become a millionaire, to create the next billion-dollar startup that hasn't existed before. We are living at literally the best opportunity for any normal person ever. ChatGPT has over 1 billion users worldwide who has this type of information. Imagine how many people had the internet 30 years ago, probably way less than that. AI just grows so fast, so exponentially. It's the biggest path to make wealth for anyone. So if you want to make money in this space, if you want to be in tech, look at look at what comes out new. Be a first mover. ChatGPT, I've already said, ChatGPT doesn't excel at everything anymore. It's not that one-stop shop. ChatGPT was still the first mover, and that's why they're still the biggest name in the company, why they have the biggest user base. If you're the first mover in an AI space with a new LLM or idea that comes out, you're going to be successful. You're going to make some money. And with how fast everything moves nowadays, you can be a first mover every week. Every week, there's an opportunity for you to be a first mover in some space with a new LLM making a new business plan. So make sure you're on Twitter or Google or whatever. Make sure you're checking the news, making sure you're actually trying ideas because it's easy to read all this crazy AI stuff and be like, oh, I'll figure it out some other time. I'll do it some other time because by then a new LLM, a new something, a new strategy has came out. So maybe spend a little less time doing all this research and start experimenting and trying because we live in a day, you can make an app in a day now. You can make a website in a day. You can test LLMs in a day. Make an agent, make a super specific agent for your niche. Go pitch for businesses that you know. You can make $1,000 in an hour phone call by solving a problem using AI agents that you just prompt in. It's the biggest transformation we've ever seen, and AI moves so quickly. You need to get informed and stay in the space now because if you don't adapt, you're going to get crushed by people who are hyper responders and who are currently constantly watching the market. If you're the first mover, it's a massive advantage, but you got to start now.
Last one as well. OpenAI versus Anthropic. Who wins? Go.
I think the question of who will win in OpenAI versus Anthropic won't be who has the better product. Does Apple have a better product than Android? You could argue that. Does Google have a better product than a Yahoo? You could argue that. Anthropic and OpenAI are better at different things. And as they continue to evolve, neither Anthropic or OpenAI is going to be the 100% leader in any market category. People are going to choose to use the brands who they trust, who is easy usability, who they feel safe with. It's a lot of the non-technical aspects. And I think a lot of these super tech nerds are like, what's the fastest API for 2.0 gigaseconds? 99% of the world are not like that. Like, even me, I'm probably in the 99 upper 99% of being interested in tech, and I'm not even that super crazy technical. People want something they can trust. People want something that they can actually use value to their life. They want something simple. People are not ready for an AI massive transformation that's going to take over the entire world, but people do want solutions to their problems that they do already. Take a Google, for instance. Everyone already uses Google. A sort of chat like Gemini has, where it simply makes Google into AI, gives the AI summary, is perfect because people already use that. ChatGPT and Anthropic need to go in markets where people are already used to using and make it a little simpler. So this isn't a great answer, but maybe we'll see after the Super Bowl commercial who will be the big winner. I think that OpenAI has such a big market mover advantage. I think it's their game to lose, but I think they easily could lose the game. And a bigger
No,
question is,
100%.
it could be neither of the two. It could be a LLM company made by one of our viewers next week that becomes the widest LLM that everyone uses in 50 years. We're just so new. It's like the
Give us
internet tech
10%
bubble
equity.
with AI. Yeah, 50% each.
Give us 10% equity for inspiration, and we'll talk about you on the pod.
Yeah, we'll do a free one-on-one call, free consultations for any cracked engineers who are out of Stanford. Hit me up.
Yeah, hit Zach up if you're an engineer and you're looking for ideas. Zach's got a plethora of them, so hit him up. He'll take some equity.
Yeah, gladly.
All right, well, if you made it this far, we appreciate you watching and listen to us talk about the latest tech news. As always, every Thursday we're here filming, updating you guys, sharing the new tech news, and I'm sure by next Thursday we're going to hear about the next Molt book and somehow going to come out in some new language model because AI is moving so fast nowadays. So if you made it this far again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.